afternoon. I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. The IATF continues to visit localities to check on their efforts against COVID-19. To give us the latest, Greg Gregorio reports to us live. Greg, where did the task force swing by this time?
Charles, the IATF members are now here in Cavite to check on the province's responses to COVID-19 pandemic. One assessment made so far states that the province is far behind when it comes to efficient contact tracing. Cavite currently ranks second among the provinces in the Calabarzon region with the most number of COVID-19 cases. As of August 12, Cavite has more than 5,000 confirmed cases, around 3,700 of which are active. The government's tracing czar, Benjamin Magalong, says the province's contact tracing efforts are inefficient. Magalong explains the province's ratio is 1 positive case to 4 or 5 contact traced individuals. That means the LGU is clearly behind the benchmark of 1 to 37 ratio for urban areas and 1 to 30 in rural areas. Based on Cavite's daily average of 64 cases, the province might be missing out around 1,600 individuals who have had an encounter with infected people. With this, Magalong appeals to LGU officials to ramp up their contact tracing efforts.
Please, let us be directly and actively involved in contact tracing. Otherwise po, with this figure, it's pathetic. Kaawa-awa po yung figure na yan. I don't think we will be able to solve this COVID-19 situation natin ho ngayon. The worst is yet to come, believe me.
Charles, in response, Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla says they would indeed need to step up their game. He even said that they would need around 2,000 contact tracers to meet the government standards. Charles?
Thank you, Greg Gregorio, reporting live from Cavite. President Duterte is expected to announce new quarantine classifications on August 17. Recall that the current MECQ status in Metro Manila, Bulacan, Rizal, Cavite, and Laguna is set to lapse on August 18. But the quarantine classifications in other regions and provinces are only applicable until Saturday, August 15. Even so, Palace spokesperson Harry Roque said the president will reveal new classifications for all areas in the country on Monday. He said that the IATF already has recommendations for provinces outside MECQ areas. Russia's first registered COVID-19 vaccine will likely be available in the market come May 2021. But the palace says fret not, as other vaccine candidates have expressed interest to conduct clinical trials in the country. Maricel Halili tells us more.
President Duterte has offered to be the first to try Sputnik V, the anti-COVID vaccine being developed by Gamaleya Research Institute of Russia. But the shots may arrive in the country later than expected. According to Palace spokesman Harry Roque, the earliest would have to be on May 1st. As the vaccine expert panel has yet to review the results of the first 2 phases of the clinical trials by next month. The Phase 3 clinical trial, which will be conducted simultaneously in the Philippines and Russia, will be between October this year to March 2021. It means the vaccine candidate won't get the nod of the Food and Drug Administration until April next year. In his latest public address, President Duterte expressed hope that Filipinos will have a COVID-free Christmas courtesy of Moscow's vaccine. But the palace won't budge, saying there are still other vaccine candidates.
Ito naman pong Gamaleya vaccine is only one. No? Marami na pong mga vaccine na nasa 3rd phase na of clinical trials. No? So baka meron naman pong mauna pa.
Several groups are skeptical about the safety of what Russia calls the first registered vaccine. They say the Philippines should not rush to acquire shots as they are still undergoing trials. The health department assured that the vaccine will undergo serious scrutiny before making it to the local market. FDA Director General Eric Domingo also said that the shots will have to undertake layers of validation, including an endorsement from the Department of Science and Technology before getting the FDA's nod.
So they need approval from FDA. So kailangan ma-check namin yung technical dossier and then of course the ethics approval, and then they have to report to us what's happening during the trial.
But Russia is not alone. Dominguez said other manufacturers have expressed interest to conduct clinical trials in the country. He said it's possible for several clinical trials to be conducted in the country, especially with the start of the World Health Organization Solidarity Trial expected either this month or next. For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
Developing a vaccine may take up to 2 years. That's according to National Task Force Against COVID-19 Special Advisor Dr. Ted Herbosa. Speaking to One News' The Chiefs, Herbosa explained that vaccines go through 4 phases before this can be used. The Russian vaccine has yet to undergo phase 3 trials. But Herbosa says the country is also in talks with 4 other countries that have likewise made progress in their search for a vaccine.
Tayo naman, wala naman tayong pinipili eh. But all in all, meron naman tayong process for that. We have the government scientists who will do the necessary vetting of any vaccine na ipaparegister sa ating FDA.
The Food and Drug Administration has greenlit a traditional Chinese medicine, that's Lianhua King Wen. But the FDA says it is not treatment for COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Chinese embassy said that the capsule is actually an approved COVID-19 treatment for mild and moderate cases. But FDA Director General Eric Domingo says traditional medicines in the country cannot be used to treat illnesses.
Sa Pilipinas, ang traditional medicine, we do not approve indications for particular illness. Usually mga symptom complexes or mga organ-specific na mga di ba, na mga karamdaman. Yun yung traditional medicine.
Let's pause for a quick break. One News Now will be right back. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Lawmakers met with transport officials earlier today to discuss the sector's plans once the MECQ is lifted. To tell us more about these plans, we have Ria Fernandez. She's reporting live from Quezon City. Ria, what can we expect from the Transportation Department should restrictions ease up next week?
Charles, transport officials promised to allow more public vehicles on the road once restrictions ease come August 19. Transport authorities said they are ready to resume operations once the quarantine status in Metro Manila is downgraded on August 19. The DOTR and the LTFRB said more jeepneys will be allowed to ply the streets as more routes will reopen for public transport vehicles.
Yung dating rota po pre-COVID, hindi naman ibig sabihin na papayagan na.
The government will also allow more buses and UV Express units to ferry passengers. Lawmakers urge transport officials to be systematic in setting up concrete barriers along EDSA to prevent congestion and accidents.
Unahin nila yung sa mga underpass, considering na yung concrete barrier kasi ay ng malaking space, ang bottleneck para sa mga private cars.
Lagyan din natin ng ilaw kasi minsan yung iba madilim. Maganda nga ang barrier natin pero kung madilim naman po, baka maging ng aksidente.
MMDA General Manager Jojo Garcia welcomed these recommendations and committed to finish the installation within the year. But for more options for commuters, House Transportation Committee Chairman Edgar Sarmiento said motorcycle taxis should already be allowed to operate.
Anyway, may safety net naman na nilalagay, yung tinatawag na barrier.
Transport stakeholders are aware, however, that not all public drivers will mount trips once allowed by the government as the number of passengers remain limited. But Robert C. of the Transport Coalition Move as One said the government's plan to do service contracting could address the drivers' woes. Under the scheme, drivers will be paid by the state on a per-kilometer basis, so they don't have to rely on payments collected from passengers. Still, C admitted that this could put more strain on the already reduced 10 billion peso budget of the DOTR under the proposed Bayanihan 2 bill. The agency's original spending plan was at 21 billion pesos. Charles, the House Transportation Committee also approved bills on taxi passengers' rights, wherein the PNP Highway Patrol Group proposed to require police clearances from taxi drivers. Charles?
Thank you. That was Ria Fernandez reporting live from Quezon City. On to our daily case tally. The Health Department reports more than 4,000 new COVID-19 infections in the country. That brings the total number of cases to over 147,000, 74,000 of which are still considered active. 23 people passed away due to SARS-CoV-2 over the past 24 hours, pushing the national death toll to around 2,400. More than 70,000, meanwhile, have gotten better from the coronavirus, with over 1,400 new recoveries today. PhilHealth just announced the suspension of the Interim Reimbursement Mechanism, or IRM, following the issues raised during the separate House and Senate hearings. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Investigation will conduct a separate probe into the supposed anomalies in the agency. NBI Officer in Charge Director Eric Distor said that Task Force PhilHealth will audit the state insurer and conduct lifestyle checks on its officials and employees. He added that they will closely work with the Justice Department during this investigation. Still on PhilHealth, Senator Panfilo Lacson is hell-bent on quizzing Health Secretary Francisco Duque III once the Senate probe resumes next week. Soto says he will ask Duque, who also chairs PhilHealth, about his recommendations to the president regarding the controversy. Meanwhile, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian says Duque should be speaking up by now. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara confirms that a German national summoned by the NBI for its Wirecard probe has died. Guevara said Christopher Bauer died last July 27 in a Parañaque hospital due to natural causes. The NBI was investigating Bauer for possible links to the missing funds, as he is believed to be a former executive of Wirecard. The Justice Secretary added that Bauer appeared to be a Philippine citizen married to a Filipino. He was also allegedly in the tour operations business. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.